Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level?
It's over 9,000!
What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
Feel free to check out my TeePublic after the video, and support me on Patreon. Watch till the end of the video for more. Special thanks to Patreon supporter GamesGalore13 for commissioning this video. To become a patron, click the link in the description. Another one of these, huh? Well, I'm happy to say this one didn't drive me to drink or OD or anything. Not that I actually can at the moment, because, you know, being on campus and all that. But anyway, let's get to it. Dear God, why do I keep forgetting to plug this thing? The Mighty Peking Man, also known as Goliathon, also known as Gorilla King, also known as the Peking Man's Counterattack, not to be confused with Ape, which was also called King Kong's Great Counterattack, not to be confused with King Kong's Counterattack, which was the Japanese title for King Kong Escapes, which can also be referred to as King Kong on Terror Island, not to be confused with Kong Skull Island, not to be confused with Kong Island, not to be confused with Konga, not to be confused with the other Konga, not to be confused with Donkey Konga, which is a spin-off from the Donkey Kong franchise, which led Universal to file a lawsuit against Nintendo for using the Kong name. Holy f***ing shit. Why does every movie featuring a primate need to have very similar sounding titles with a ton of alternate ones at that? Next thing you know, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes can also be referred to as Caesar Checks In. Anyway, the film is a 1977 King Kong knockoff made in Hong Kong. Hong Kong King Kong, how about that? It was directed by Ho Myung-hwa and was produced by the Shaw brothers, who we do have to thank for giving us some pretty awesome films in the martial arts genre, like The Five Deadly Venoms and The 36th Chamber of Shaolin. They even had a hand in movies like Blade Runner and Kill Bill. And as a little bonus, they're also known in the tokusatsu community for the Super Inframan, which was basically their answer to Kamen Rider and Superman, which ironically enough predated Richard Donner's Superman film by a good 3 years. But we're getting off topic here. Gotta love them in their totally not Warner Brothers logo. Businessmen hear about the presence of a colossal ape in the Himalayas, known as the Mighty Peking Man, not to be confused with Mighty Joe Young, the Mighty Gorgo, oh, here we go again, and gather people for an expedition, including a guy named Johnny.
I did not hit her.
No, not that Johnny. Who was invited onto the expedition solely on the fact that he broke up with his fiancée after he caught her cheating on— oh my god, did Tommy Wiseau find inspiration from this film?
I treat you like a princess, and you stab me in the back.
Can you imagine having the absolute worst day of your life and some random ass dude just comes up to you all, hey, let's go find this giant monkey?
Ethan, pack your bags. We gotta go.
What in the frick? Can you see I'm busy being depressed right now?
No time to explain. We're going monkey hunting.
While they're on the expedition, the men come across the island's natives and wild animals that are out to attack them. Unfortunately, Johnny is left alone one night and eventually comes across the Mighty Peking Man himself, only to be saved by a woman named Samantha who lived on the island after her family's plane crashed, where she was the only survivor and was raised by the Peking Man. And you can probably imagine why I'm only using footage of Samantha sparingly. To keep it short, let's just say that her top doesn't do a very good job keeping her from being exposed for a good chunk of the film. Johnny then convinces her to come back to Hong Kong with him as they take the Peking Man with them. And you can probably imagine where this is going. But before we get to the climatic monkey rampage, Johnny meets his ex-girlfriend again at a studio he invited Samantha to, where she apologizes for what happened before.
The only thing I wanted, Johnny, was success. It was just a horrid mistake.
Yeah, it certainly was a horrid mistake, alright.
Dirty fool.
Unfortunately, Samantha is nearly raped by one of the businessmen from earlier, and that is when the Peking Man begins his almighty rampage, and my god is it glorious. All of the miniatures and set pieces in the Mighty Peking Man are so vast and handled with such great care that they actually do an excellent job submersing the viewer into the experience. As for the Peking Man himself, despite having some pretty ugly close-up shots, I really like how unique the design is. Now, yes, it is a giant primate of sorts, but it feels very much like its own species. Like, this does not look like your average ape at all. And the effects were done by none other than Sadamasa Arakawa, Koichi Kawakita, and Keizo Murase, known for their work in the Godzilla series. The Mighty Peking Man truly has some of the best effects work in the Showa era of tokusatsu, which was a rarity for the 1970s, making this film even more special. Even if some of the composite shots look pretty ugly and are held on for far too long. But hey, it can always be worse. Also, the fact that they trained actual animals for this film is astonishing. Look at this scene where Samantha is just swinging a leopard around and it doesn't even have a care in the world. It's just chilling there. And huge props to whoever trained this tiger. It takes massive balls to be associated with that. The scoring is done by Frankie Chan, who is a pretty big name in the martial arts scene. And it is so dramatic and over the top that it unfortunately makes scenes that are meant to be serious come off as laughable, and it just booms in every scene it's in. In fact, this is probably the only place where the sound design is pretty inconsistent. The music is just so much louder than the dialogue itself.
What are you doing, Johnny? Johnny, get out of the way! Johnny!
And that brings me to the ending of The Mighty Peking Man. The ape, as you can certainly guess, climbs up a tall structure, fights flying military vehicles before falling to his death. It's a tale as old as time at this point, everyone knows it. But it's the way the scene is executed that truly makes it so, well, I'll describe it. The Peking Man is battling helicopters, all while Samantha is holding on to him for dear life, before getting shot by a Gatling gun, as the Peking Man is then torched alive and falls to his death, crashing into another building only for it to explode, and Johnny rescues Samantha as he carries her to witness the destruction that was left behind, and the movie ends. That is how it ends. I shit you not, and according to suit maker Keizo Murase, the suit actor who played the Peking Man was not able to shoot the finale because he did not have insurance. So Murase took it upon himself to play the Peking Man, stand at the top of a towering miniature, get set on fire, and fall into a building that would explode, all for 3 takes. 3 takes! He got in a monkey suit, bathed in fire, and fell into an exploding building for 3 takes. I am absolutely speechless at this point. I guess the only thing I have left to talk about is that Quentin Tarantino loved this film so much that he actually got it released in the US on home video under his distributing company, Rolling Thunder Pictures. Overall, while The Mighty Peking Man is pretty weak on plot and writing, there is no denying that it is an absolute spectacle to behold. Based on the action and set pieces, I would absolutely encourage any fan of tokusatsu to do whatever they can to watch this movie. It is absolutely f***ing crazy, and it's easily the best King Kong knockoff ever made in my book. And while this really doesn't have to do with The Mighty Peking Man, Keizo Murase worked on a film titled Howl from Beyond the Fog, directed by Daisuke Sato, which has been confirmed for a limited North American release on home video by SRS Cinema. Oh yeah, and literally the day after I finished recording audio for this video, Daisuke Sato and Keizo Murase just announced a Kickstarter for their next film, The Brush of God. But that's not all. Did you know that this review was commissioned by one of my fellow patrons? If you like to commission a movie review, then go support me on Patreon, where you can also get early access to videos, exclusive content, and a t-shirt of your choice from my TeePublic. Once I reach enough patrons, I'll review the Yokai Monsters trilogy, so if that's something you like to see, then go support me on Patreon. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is TitanGoji, signing off.
We're going monk now.
I guess you can say I made a real monkey out of myself. Classic.